I feel so spoiled to have Bill on with us tonight to do my first Intarsia piece. Bill's so awesome. I was just getting a chance to chat with him a little bit before we started here, and he's such a cool dude. I've been admiring his work for a long time, and I actually remember watching the very first webinar that he did with John and Sherman live back when I was just a Highland Park customer and I was on with y'all guys watching from the other side of the screen. So this is like a dream come true to be on in the Highland Park Dream Shop here, to be doing my first Intarsia piece with Bill helping us out. So welcome, Bill, and thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thank you. You give me a big head here.
Well, for those that are on that aren't familiar with your work, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit and tell them what you do?
Uh, well, like pretty much everybody else out there, I started out uh, tumbling rocks, and then I discovered cabbing. I took my first cabbing class and promptly bought a machine and started cutting cabs and cut, oh, I don't know, probably had 1,000 cabs and trying to figure out what to do with them. And then I had the opportunity to see the output of a class at the Friday show and tell at the school from an Intarsia class. And I had never even considered that you could do something like that. Um, so it was, I mean, I'm a rock hound through and through. So this just gave me um, some really cool things that I could do to enhance all the pretty rocks that I had. And I started, when did I start that? First started doing that in the late 1990s. And I've been doing it ever since. I started teaching classes in 97 and been doing anywhere from 4 to 6 classes a year. We got 5 classes scheduled for next year, and we always have fun. I know there's a number of people that participate in these online Highland Park extravaganzas and I recognize names of former students occasionally. So it's a for you rock hands out there, it's a great way to launch out from just cutting cabs.
Oh,
So
that's
is that
awesome. Yeah, that's great. We're all excited here, and we've been talking about this for weeks now. So I think most people that are on tonight are pretty excited to have you here. So if you guys have questions for Bill, you're more than welcome to put it in the chat here. Bill teaches at the William Holland School of Lapidary in Georgia. So if you're interested in taking one of his classes, we'll get you a link to their page. Lizelle, if you could share that, that would be great. Because, well, as Bill just said, he's been teaching, not cutting, but teaching longer than I've been around. So he's got a lot of knowledge. He's probably forgotten more about Intarsia than I'll ever learn. So I'm so excited to have him here. We're tonight we're gonna start with the basics of what Bill teaches everybody when he does his class, and we're gonna do what he calls the rock yonder cut, which is a square that is framed. So we were looking at some pieces before. We had a nice piece of malachite with the eyes picked out that we're gonna frame with Amazonite and sodalite. So that should be real fun to do. And of course, we got one of the newer Intarsia machines here, which Bill actually had a good amount of input on and designing when he was doing this, when John was building this machine, because Bill's a master at this. I'm very inspired, Bill. I'm looking at all your pieces there going, I'm I'm clearly going to spend a lot of time at this machine now because that's a lot of really cool stuff that I can't wait to try. Um, Let me show you guys what we picked out here to start with. We're going to do a square, and we're going to border it with Amazonite and sodalite. So this is the piece of malachite that we're going to do our square out of. This has great eye pattern in it. So this would be a good display. And by the way, Bill, feel free to interrupt me at any point for corrections or things that people should know. But I watched Bill's webinar earlier today, actually, so that I would have a few things that we should all know about Intarsia. But this has got really great eye pattern in here, so we'll do our center out of this because this is what we're going to frame to display. Team, would you pin up the marketing team camera or the lifestyle camera, whichever one this is? Looking at the table of slabs here. No, yeah, the marketing team one. There we go. All right, can you guys see the slab now? Perfect. All right. So this is a slab of malachite that we're going to be framing. As you see, this really great eye pattern in here. In fact, we made a cab out of this before. If you guys saw that really big malachite cab that I made, so we'll frame some eyes in there. We're going to use some sodalite around the border um, because it'll be a good contrast with that dark next to the green. And then what we're going to do is use sodalite, or I'm sorry, Amazonite, as the border around the sodalite. And initially, I was going to do our backing as goldstone, but Bill pointed out something before we started here that it gives a really neat effect, that full frame effect, if you do your outer edge and your back as one stone. So it's continuous all the way around. So we grabbed a slab of Amazonite to do that. This is some of that Amazonite we were going crazy on the other night. This is really pretty stuff. All right. Now I was going to ask you. Ooh, sorry, kicking the camera here. Was going to ask you, Bill, before we shape out our stone here, should we grind this flat first or get it trimmed out and then grind it flat?
No, just go ahead and pick out the area that you want and saw it up. It depends on how much of the material you want to preserve.
All right. Well, let's see, I think there's plenty to use here. So I think what we'll do is we'll pick this corner right here because that's got some really great eyes in it. Got a little fracture right there we won't include in our face. But this corner is looking really good for a nice tight pattern.
Now let
And
me say something about one thing that happens, particularly with people starting to do Intarsia for the first time, is they have a tendency to get quite large uh, because you start out in I don't know what's the dimensions of that square you're doing.
let's see. That one is right at an inch.
Okay. You have to think of what's your target. If you're gonna put it on a shelf, then it doesn't matter how big it's going to get. But if you're going to make jewelry out of it, you don't want too much heavy stone hanging around your neck, or most people wouldn't anyway. So just keep that in mind. So you're going to be you've got a 1 inch square of pretty dense material there, and then you're going to be putting what, two more borders around it. So it's going to get good size. I mean, that's not saying you're doing anything wrong. It's just something to keep in mind.
That is a good tip. On this one, we're only using a rounded square because that's just happened to be the only squares that I have in the shop here for a template. It definitely would be easier if these were square edges, but we'll just ignore the corners when we cut this out and just focus on our flat edges. But that is true. I do like to make really big cabs, so
Well, I do too.
uh,
Yeah.
I'm guilty of that. All right, well, we got our square there that will go cut out. Should we mark up our strips now or cut this out and then come back and mark out strips?
See how big it's going to end up being, and then you want, when you cut your strips, you're going to want them to be just slightly longer than the piece that you're going to be bordering.
Perfect. All right, we can do that. come over here to the 6-inch trim saw and we'll get our square done. And for those of you that have been on the last few weeks watching stuff, this is one of the new blades that's on the trim saw here. And I like to use brass. I know it's going to be hard for you guys to see those lines on the camera there, but they pop really well on a whetstone, especially if it's dark like this. So that's what I like. And before I cut there, I'm going to take our little nub off so that I don't wind up with uneven edges. You don't want to be cutting at a slanted angle. All right.
Now, let me point out something here. Sometimes when you're working with something like malachite, which has a tendency to chip away, sometimes when you have just a little bit of a material to saw away, it's actually easier and safer just to grind that down on the Intarsia machine.
I can
Does that
definitely see what you mean by that as I'm watching it chip away.
Yes.
All right. Well, I think I left us enough safety room there. So the next step would be to get these edges ground out.
Yeah, grind down to just outside of your flat, the flat part of your lines.
All right. As I throw the stone across the room. And per Bill's recommendation, we put a 180 grit lap on here. Now, why 180 grit, Bill? What made
Well,
you choose that grit?
there's a little history. It really has a lot to do with the fact that I teach classes, and in a classroom environment, machines take quite a beating. So, um, in an ideal situation, you might want to consider using a 260. In fact, I use a 260 if I'm working with material that's problematic, like charoite or Larimar, and sometimes like malachite. You know, with if you got malachite that's real chippy. Um, so
Yeah, we definitely had some chipping there that I think we're gonna have to bring this square down a little bit smaller to use that piece.
now what I'd recommend doing right now, since you got it fairly square, uh, on those two sides, your left and right side, why don't you go ahead and take your calipers and make sure that those are parallel without any
Now let's look.
gaps in it. Can you slide
Now
it
let's.
in? Can you slide it in and out easily with? Looks like you got
Now it
some
feels.
gaps. It's hard to
Let's see.
tell from the camera. It's pretty good.
I would say if I'm just looking at the edge of the calipers there, it looks pretty flat. The only
Yeah, yeah,
problem
that
I
looks
see
good.
is that little chip up there.
Yeah, well, we'll take care of that later. Since this is a problematic material, let's leave that right there, and let's go ahead and uh, put the borders on those two sides.
Okay.
So cut two strips, and I like to make the width of my strips so that they're uh, slightly wider than the centerpiece is thick. Does that make sense?
So if I cut them that direction, would that be enough gap sticking off the top and the
No,
bottom there? Okay.
no.
We'll want to cut them this way.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then we just need them slightly wider this way than that is thick.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm going to take the little nub off the end of the thing there so I can let it sit flat. I hate when the slabs are not sitting flat on the surface you're trying to work on.
Yeah.
And then how parallel do these slabs need to be? These little strips.
Well, if you have enough overlap, they don't have to be within a thousandth of an inch or anything like that. Just um, you can kind of eyeball it.
Oh, yeah. I'll let the ruler slip.
Now I know my attitude sometimes with my comments seem a little bit flippant, and I know it drives some of the people crazy uh, that like to do everything precise. But uh, I'm kind of a seat of the pants person.
Oh, you and I will do great together then. As you might have noticed, when Bill hopped on, he's like, I really don't know what the plan is for tonight. And it's like, that's okay. I like to wing it. I think this one slab's going to be plenty of material, assuming all goes well. All right. You can ignore where my let the ruler slip there, but there's our strips.
Yeah,
That look good?
yeah. You may or may not be able to cut those long strips with that material, especially with that fracture line. But that's okay. You got enough material in there.
I did try to cut enough slabs that if we made mistakes, we could fix them. All right. I really do like these new blades that John came out with because they are definitely helpful with chipping and the rock splitting features. There we go. I'm going to use that. Because that is a pretty impressive cut on Sodalite to not have it break.
Amen, brother.
We'll talk about the new blades later, but since we got Bill on, um, we'll focus on the Intarsia because we're not going to keep Bill up all night. But you guys know we'll stay on late, play with rocks and other things tonight. Oh, there's our first strip.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you. Oh, there's our second strip. I think that slab's a little bit on the wide side for a border, but probably good that we did it that way for this material. All right, well, we managed to get all three out of there.
That's great.
All right, so I presume the next step would be to clean up the edges on these and then glue two on.
Uh, yeah, but there's an interim step here. Uh, take one of the strips and lay it next to the centerpiece, and we want to have make sure that we got some overlap, and then on,
Yeah, I think we'll be able to cut these in half and still have overlap.
okay, make sure you have overlap, and then don't try to flatten that entire long piece at once. What you're going to do now is you're going to cut those to size.
Oh, okay. So just cut this piece down length or this way.
Yes,
Perfect. All right. Bring the malachite with us so we can make sure that we do a good job cutting.
that's one of the mistakes that people will do. They'll try to flatten the entire strip, and it can be done. It just takes longer.
That's exactly what I would have made a mistake there. So yeah, all right, yeah, we have two good pieces there, I think.
Okay. Yeah, that looks good. So now, now you're going to get your pencil out.
And you said earlier that this is the most important part of doing this.
Yeah. And it's the step that people will, especially when they're learning, it's a step that they'll forget to do, and they'll end up with a gap, and they'll wonder why. And it's you just get so tied up with trying to do so many things at once that you forget to do this. But um,
Are we doing both sides of the piece, or will we do the other half later? Like, should I put pencil on both sides of this?
on what you want to do now is put an X on the reverse side so that you can keep it. Because once you get it straight or once you get it flattened, sometimes it's hard to tell.
Ah, that's smart. See, that's why we got you on. Keep us
All
in
right.
check here.
All right. So yeah, do those two.
And why are we putting the pencil on there, Bill?
The goal is to grind those surfaces perfectly flat. And one way to demonstrate that is to grind away the pencil marks. So after you've ground it, if the pencil marks are gone, there's a high probability, as long as you didn't make any other mistakes, there's a high probability it's going to be flat.
I like
Um,
it.
so this is the little bit of a tricky part, getting your fingers down in there and making sure that you keep it flat against the uh, the shelf. So yeah, you're doing fine there. That's fairly soft, so it should grind pretty quick. Try not to wipe it off though.
Oh, okay. Wiping all the pencil away. I think that's pretty flat there, but should I re-pencil it and check since I wiped it?
Yeah, in fact, what I do as a matter of habit is after I've done what you've just done, I will do a quick pencil mark on there, and then I will just touch the lap briefly. And if it's perfectly flat, then those pencil marks will indeed be gone. You get an A.
I like that. All right. Well, I'm happy now. I got an A. All right, we'll do our other piece here.
Now, sometimes people have trouble getting their fingers down there, um, and applying even pressure on it. So one thing you can do is you can take another slab and use it as kind of a pusher to,
Oh, that's smart. I like your double check method. Something kind of doing like that.
yep. And you're doing exactly right. You were pushing down on the top too to make sure it didn't crawl up the lap.
All right, I think we got a flat piece and we still got an X.
Okay, good deal. So now do the same thing on the two sides of the centerpiece with the,
Checking with the pencil.
yes.
I like your pencil trick here. I would not have thought of that. That is pretty soft.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty fresh lap too.
Yeah, I did one stone earlier just so it wasn't brand new.
Yeah.
Took it to the lab, but that is grinding pretty quick. All right, do the other side there. I did think this was going to be a lot harder and a lot more time intensive, but this feels like it's actually going pretty fast.
Yep.
All right.
Looks good. All right, so now you're ready to glue. And as a as a safety thing, especially when you're cutting your rocks with oil, it's a good idea to wipe those edges off with a little bit of acetone.
Do you ever do you wear rubber gloves when you do it so that you don't touch any of the surfaces?
No, some people do because they're have sensitive skin. Well, and it depends on what I'm cutting too. Um, if I cut a lot of malachite, I might do that, but just for a single thing like that, I probably wouldn't bother. Now, I don't know, we didn't discuss it, but do you happen to have a piece of wax paper?
I went to get some and they did not have any switches, so the paper plate will have to do for tonight, unfortunately.
Okay. Sometimes just a sheet of plastic will work too. Uh, and you'll probably end up gluing it to the paper plate, but it comes off quick.
Yeah, I figured we would have to grind some paper plate off. But I was like, yeah, I went to the store to get parchment paper or wax paper, anything, and they had absolutely nothing earlier.
I know
So I
it's
was like,
hard to
well,
find.
I was like, all right, we will have to do with the paper plate and just know that we will take that off later.
Right.
All right,
Oh,
and then I wasn't able to find, they didn't have gel glue either. So I got this super glue. We only got 10 seconds to work with this stuff. So
okay.
before I,
Is that a gel or is it a real runny type or what?
it's liquid. It's not the gel. It says it has 10 seconds before you're set.
Okay. All right.
So before I start gluing, is there anything else I should know?
No, no. Just go ahead and apply the glue to one side of your centerpiece. And it looks kind of like gel.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like gel too. Said it
Yeah.
wasn't though.
Yeah. Well, if you've got 10 seconds, it's probably a gel. So that should work fine. Any kind of super glue will work. The only thing is that if you're using old-fashioned super glue, the real runny kind, um, you don't have 10 seconds. You don't even have a second. I mean, it goes fast. So you just have to make sure that it's lined up properly. So for those of you watching, try to get some wax paper ahead of time
You can see why.
or uh, some plastic wrap works just as well.
Hey, Tay.
Hey there, Bill.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good.
I recognize that voice.
It is me. I'm somewhere on one of the pictures on there. So we are good to see you here. Hey, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Hey,
Now,
Lizelle may have asked this, but I'm curious. Tonight, did anybody use the portal to log in and it didn't work? Put it in the chat. Because we think we fixed it. Because I know
That's
Lizelle didn't.
exciting. How long do we need to let this sit before we can go to the next step?
Is this
well,
epoxy?
no, it's super glue. If it said 10 seconds, that's all you need.
Well, why don't you hit it with some of that accelerator?
Well, you can. Some people like to do that, but you don't need to do that.
All right. So I can just go ahead and peel this off the plate because we did not have
Yeah,
wax paper.
wipe that excess off so you won't get it all over you.
Okay, it's working. Now, Alan, you said the old log didn't work. I don't know what that means. Like, they mean the link on the email? Yeah, you're right, Brian. It didn't work in the cab afternoon, but we changed something. That's good. That's good. Ooh.
That looks good. Now what I would
Hey,
do is I would go ahead and grind off uh, make that backside flush so that you
this side right
can
here.
yeah so that you can lay it flat on the table, and you can
All
do
right.
that. You can do that. You can just hold it freehand if you want on that. Pretend it's a flat lap.
Yeah, that lap being pretty new takes that off real quick.
Yeah. Okay. Now this is um, earlier when you cut those and you had those, it started undercutting like that. Um, I immediately advise you to go ahead and get these two borders on any material like this that's problematic. Uh, if you can go ahead and get a couple borders on, that will help hold it together while you do the next step.
Oh, that's smart. All
So
right. So are we gonna cut these pieces off or should I just grind those?
uh, since it's so soft, just go ahead and grind it.
All right.
Now, one of the things I got in the habit of doing also is if you are working there and you start getting a buildup of material on the table, keep a squirt bottle handy to kind of keep it cleaned off so that you always have a nice flat surface to work with.
I like that. That's a great suggestion. Sherman, are you still on?
He's off on DOZ.
Oh, okay.
So you want to grind down past those divots that showed up from the saw.
All right.
That looks real good. So just do
Thank you.
um, so you'll need two more strips. And again, they will have to be a little bit longer because they'll have to encompass the area taken up by those strips you just put on, the additional length.
Let's see. Yeah, I think one of these strips is not going to quite be long enough. We'll have to, but we got two here, so we got plenty.
Yeah,
So we'll take all those over to the trim saw again and make our next borders. This is a lot of fun. Thank you, Bill.
yeah.
You know, it's so often that I'm on here uh, doing the teaching that this is really a treat for me to get on and be instructed.
Well, that's what it's all about. I consider myself first and foremost a teacher.
All right,
That looks
we got a
great.
frame. So now we're gonna repeat the making all these edges perfectly flat with the pencil, right?
Yep.
You guys having fun watching this? And more importantly, are you learning something? There's actually a good amount of chatoyant flash in that edge of the soda light. That's funny. Oh, don't worry. Later on, after we finish this project, for those of you that are interested, we'll, oh, I don't know, I'm putting an X on there. We're just doing another layer pencil. We'll do a deal on these machines for anybody that's interested. All right. I like it. I love your method of double checking the pencil there.
Yeah. Now, if you run into a situation where either you skip the step or maybe you didn't do it correctly, or you just for whatever reason you ended up with a gap and you don't want that gap, then the easiest thing to do typically is to just go ahead and grind the border off and put a new one on.
Do you ever cut apart your projects? You're like, I don't like how that turned out, and cut it up and make something else with it?
Yeah, well, that happened just about 2 weeks ago, except I didn't plan on it. It just it wasn't behaving the way that I thought it should behave, and it had its mind of its own. So I ended up with a new design.
I like that. Now, I don't know if you guys caught it when I'm trying to resist the urge to check this before wiping it off. But if you noticed, Bill caught me doing it earlier. I was wiping it off and then looking at it. But pencil is easy enough to wipe off of a lot of stones, which is why we're looking at it wet and looking for the reflection and then wiping it. Because I was making that mistake just
It's
a few
one
minutes ago.
it's one of the few situations where uh, you don't want to look at it dry necessarily. You're depending on the pencil marks. And by the way, you don't need quite as much glue as you put on before.
Okay. I do tend to get a little excited with things like glue. Good layer.
Well, we typically have a tongue-in-cheek contest in classes to see who's going to be the first one to glue their fingers together or to a piece.
I think the funniest gluing story I have is my dad had a bottle of actually it was this glue right here, the Easy Bond, and he mistakenly tried to open the bottle with his teeth. He put it in his mouth and twisted it and instantly glued his mouth to the bottle.
Oh,
We
geez.
laughed at him for probably an hour before we helped him get it off. I do like the way that's coming together. This is so cool. Intarsia is such an interesting art. You gotta wonder who was the first person to think we could put a whole bunch of stones together and make something really interesting.
Yeah. Well, think about all those people back in the Renaissance that did all those amazing actual artwork pictures with stone, and they didn't have any kind of the equipment that we have now. It was all hand tools
That's even
and
more impressive.
a lot of patience.
All right.
That looks great.
Well, thank you, Bill.
So now you'll go ahead and grind those ears off to get everything flush, and then you can work on your next border.
Well, you said to use less glue, and I think I managed to actually use more glue. I'm just gonna get the camera set up here, and then I'll have to go refill the water. I've been playing with this, so water's just about out. How much water do you typically go through when you're doing a project like this?
Um, I usually get a couple projects with one filling. It doesn't
Oh,
take
okay.
much. I'm surprised it doesn't use near as much water as the old machines did, uh, and people tend to open the valve too much. You don't need much water. It's just like if you've ever faceted, you just use a slow drip on the faceting lap, and that's all you need for this too.
I would definitely be guilty of using too much water.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. It just you just have to fill it a little bit more often. Did you put a funnel in top of yours?
No, but that's smart.
Well, thank Martha Graziano for that idea.
Oh yeah, I love Martha. She gets on here quite regularly.
That looks
Oh,
really good.
that's coming out so awesome. Growing up doing lapidary, it's not often I get to do a first. especially on the cut and chats. So it's very exciting to get to do a project that I've never done before with you guys. I was just, well, I'm already, if you look at this edge right here, you can see I'm already not perfectly square.
Yep.
So I was not eyeballing, I was just eyeballing that.
So now's the opportunity to straighten those up, and this is where the calipers will come in handy.
And you don't use the jig. Let's see. We'll try to eyeball this and learn it. See how far out of square I am here. Yeah, you can see I got a little bit of a swing there. And this one I got a little bit of swing the other way.
Now what you'll want to do is just when you're working on getting those parallel and also trying to get them even, equal width, just do two sides at a time. And the reason is because when you get your two sides on, and then you go to the next step of grinding down, getting rid of those tails off of those pieces, there's a chance that in the process of doing that, especially with a soft stone, that you might inadvertently get the side out of parallel. So if you now,
Oh, pretty close. Still a hair off. You can see it swing there, but we're really close. Well, that's a good thing we started with some thicker slabs there. That feels a lot better. You don't feel quite the swing through there.
well, you cut those. Now let me recommend don't cut these just yet.
Okay.
Go ahead and put your borders on those two thin sides.
Okay. I definitely could see how doing a softer material you could get overzealous and grind way too fast.
Yes.
And this is also a fairly soft material, and we got a decently thin slab there, so we'll have to be extra careful. And get rid of that fracture right there. That one. All right. We got plenty of room to cut it that direction. The disc is 180 grit, which was Bill's suggestion is what we put on this machine. Is how we ended up with that actually. But if you caught what Bill was saying earlier, if you're doing a softer material like this and you don't have a whole bunch of students who are maybe being a little extra hard on your machines, then a 260 grit lap would be a really good option for something like this. You can see that little brass line.
The 260 works really fine for a large amount of material, but when you start grinding like palm wood and the hard porcelain jaspers, you eat up that disc pretty quickly.
Kind of fun to cut out all these little strips. I don't know that I've ever taken a slab and cut it into strips like this before. How would a 220 grit will compare, Bill?
Well, hey, there's Martha. I just saw her name on there. Yeah, that it would be less aggressive than the 180, of course. So that's the point, really, is something that's less aggressive. But again, if I was grinding some expensive material like Charoite or Larimar, I would definitely go with a non-aggressive disc lap.
All right. Put a lid on the glue there, and then let's head over to the trim saw. I know I'm having so much fun. I probably won't get any sleep this weekend. I imagine by Monday, there'll be about 500 of these little strips of rock laying around the shop here.
Well, it is a sickness. As is so much of this stuff.
And if you guys noticed, I drew a lot of extra lines on here because Amazonite has a very strong cleavage plane, so it is very prone to splitting and separating. So I imagine we'll have a couple broken strips. Yeah, this is the oh hey John. You guys probably should get John unmuted. Oh, I was off on my angle on this one. So it's gonna be a very tapered strip.
That's okay, as long as you got overlap.
Hey guys.
Hey John.
Hello, John.
Hey Bill, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks.
I'm back as well.
This
John
is
had
the
called me
continuous
here.
rim blade. This
Yeah, if you're
continuous
doing
thin
in
blade.
if you're doing Intarsia, you're gonna want one of these new continuous rim blades. I'm amazed at how well it's cutting this thin
Yeah,
Amazonite and not
I was
separating.
when you started, I'm like, man, you're cutting across the grain on that Amazonite. That'll be challenging. And I'm watching the blade and I'm like, man, it's actually really, really smooth. Yeah, this is the 20 thousandths. This is the 20 thousandths blade, which is the thinnest one we offer. Oh, I have my
And
screen laid way back.
per per Bill's recommendation earlier, I'm gonna save myself the headache and grind that off rather than try to trim that.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, I'm actually really impressed we made it through that whole slab, cutting this into strips and didn't break a single one of those.
It's a good blade.
So
John and Sherman, I'm glad
is this your first Intarsia piece here, Zeke?
it is. This is the first time I've done this. This is the piece so far, the malachite with sodalite around it, and then we're gonna do an Amazonite outer border and backing.
All right, then I'll be kind of easy on you on this one.
Don't have him lose his confidence.
Well, here's the thing, and I actually think it's great having people do a first piece because what you'll see is that it's 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 all just some fundamental techniques. When you have great teachers, you can follow their guidance and come out with a pretty good result your first time around. And if you can do that the first time around, when you do a couple iterations, all of a sudden you're making really, really, professional looking, pieces. And it doesn't take that long. If you do it by yourself, it takes a lot longer.
Yeah.
And this is why guys
Well,
like Bill are really, really important to the lapidary community because
Yeah.
we need great teachers.
And Bill, you teach a week-long program at William Holland, right?
Yes.
Yep. So William Holland School of Lapidary, great place to go learn.
all right. Well,
Looks good.
after
Hey, thanks, Marvin.
after the time that Bill and I have spent here on the Zoom call, I'm convinced John and Sherman that we need to have a Highland Park event in person with Bill.
I agree.
We're having just a little bit of fun here. At least I'm having a great time. This is so cool.
He has been talking about this well, since you guys scheduled it. Zeke's been talking about this.
Yeah, it's been so much fun. Well, and admittedly too, I thought this was going to be significantly harder than what it's turned out to. Oh, sorry, do it under the camera here. What it's been marked our X side and then the side that we're going to grind. But with Bill walking me through this here, it's actually been really easy to do this piece. And hopefully all of you guys that are thinking about doing Intarsia or just got an Intarsia machine are going, man, that looks really easy. I want to try that now.
This may cut your cabochon production down a lot.
All right.
I did a really nice piece last year with some of that Turkish purple jade and some thuolite, and it just came out beautiful. The color combinations were just marvelous.
That's cool. That's actually one of the stones I debated about was some of the purple jade. Team, we all unmute John.
Yeah, unmute John there, guys. He was on and then he stopped.
Yeah, well, I had to mute because I was begging somebody to make me some coffee.
Ah,
I'll tell you what, I am so excited about all the stuff that is going on that we're doing because there's so much more that I see that I want to do. And as every time we move forward and we do something like this, I just get really excited about what else we can do.
that's for sure.
So
Well,
I
I mean,
just finished the I'm thinking of it. I just finished the 24-inch and the 30-inch reciprocal laps, and they're awesome. They are so smooth running and they're super heavy duty. I think I would say by Monday, Zeke, I would let you start pre-selling them, and I'll shoot a video upstairs. We have like an army of these on the floor, so they're going to probably hit the container here in about, they'll go in a container in about 6 or 7 days, and they're
oh, it's
beautiful.
awesome.
That's wicked cool. Oh, we got to still do
Much,
our.
much more. They're more oriented for the hobbyist because, like, the R1M is a beast. You can load it up with so many pieces.
It is big though.
It's very big for most people that are running a small shop. It's too big.
See, that's why it's important to
Yeah.
have a process. I almost skipped those two faces there.
Hey, Bill, how many of these machines do you have in the in William Holland now?
We don't have any. There's
You don't have any of these?
no. What it is of course, I have mine, and then an increasing number of students have been bringing their own machines. But part of the problem with the school is and these machines is they're marvelous machines, but they're very heavy, and we might be teaching Intarsia one week, and next week they'll be teaching silver. Next week they'll be doing casting in the same room, and it just it gets to be the logistics of it get to be a problem. If we had a dedicated room where we could just leave the machines, anyway, that's.
Yeah, it's that base plate. That base plate is really solid and beefy.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, the whole thing is great, but
Now you got a 180 disc on there right now, Zeke?
Yep.
Yeah, probably could go even finer than that if you're working something like Sodalite and Amazonite, couldn't you, Bill?
yes, yeah, we were just talking about that earlier. You could easily go to a 260 or something certainly less aggressive.
Yeah.
The 180 was an optimum grit for the classroom environment. And and also for, like you say, for the softer materials, it's probably better. But for real hard materials, it'll eat those up pretty quickly.
Yeah. I'm glad you think so, Francine. I put a lot of work into figuring out how to make it so it is easier.
Well, I think I managed to not use a significant amount of glue. It's not oozing out every face.
You didn't
Hey,
glue
I got a
yourself to your
question.
workpiece yet?
I got a question for the new people who've come in that I didn't hear me talk about the portal earlier. Has anybody come in tonight who tried to use the portal link and it did not work for them? This is
Throw it
for
in the
new
chat.
people that just arrived.
Amanda.
So did it work for you or it didn't work for you? Worked there. Cindy, I just sent you an email. Amanda,
So
it didn't
Amanda's
work.
didn't work. And Kurt can't access the portal.
Kurt, you may need to reset your password, or I can reset it and you can just re-sign up.
Oh, that's great, Robert. Good progress then.
Yeah, we did some software updates, so it should resolve all the problems. But looks like there may be still a few.
And Cindy, I'm gonna also reset your account and then just go log back in, sign up again. Because I think that's gonna solve those issues.
Yeah, Kurt's trying to reset his password, but it doesn't send him the email. You might check and make sure
Well, we're just
that
gonna
he's only
reset it.
got.
We'll just reset him and then he can just.
See, one of the neat things I've been observing this process here that Zeke's been doing is, now he certainly has a excellent lapidary skills, but I haven't hardly had to say a word once I got him started. He put those two first borders on and then he kind of ran with it. And that's typical. People discover that it's not really that difficult.
Bill has definitely been an excellent instructor. I did cheat before this. I did watch his webinar, and he's very thorough with his process. And one of the things that I definitely could probably learn from Bill is not using so many words. Bill is very concise, very straight with his direction. It makes it really easy to follow.
That's not what my wife says.
Oh, that Michael's good. Yeah, Zeke definitely has the gift of gab.
So Darlene says she can't see her paid invoices.
So Marvin, are you using the new black nuts on that lid? You should be using the black nuts and you should tighten it up pretty good.
Which tumbler do you have, Marvin? You have the 12 or the 6 or the double 6?
I'm really happy with how this is turning out for the first
Yeah,
project.
Get rid of use the the black nylon nut, Marvin. It's going to be better.
Yeah,
It's not going to unscrew on
all
you.
the feedback we're getting is the black nuts are the best.
Yeah, I
Okay,
would get rid of
if
the
you got
stainless one.
if you got a 12 and it well, Ryan's got a 12.
But Marvin's got a
Marvin,
12 too. Marvin's got a 12.
okay. I'll tell you a real simple little trick that you can reverse the direction of your machine, and then it can't. It doesn't work if you have a double six, because one barrel is always going to be running the other way. But on the 12, you can get a little tiny wire, take the top cover off, and put a jumper between the COM and the F/R terminals on that, and it will reverse the direction of the tumbler. FR is forward reverse, and the COM is ground. So all you're doing is grounding.
So is that you're jumping
that.
between COM and FR? Is it just FR, John?
FR, yeah. And that will reverse the direction of the tumbler.
I just put
Then
it in
you
the
want
chat.
to think about it ever unscrewing the nut on a 12 or a 6. On a double 6, it's different. Yeah, that can help too. Yeah, Bill, you got Zeke here looking like he knows what he's doing pretty well.
He's doing great. He really is.
So my observation would be probably the biggest challenge is when you put that first set of laminates on your center part, that when you start to square it up, you're really keeping your eye on keeping the edge of your centerpiece parallel with the outside edge of the laminate, so you don't get any taper there.
Yes.
Does that make
Yes.
sense?
Yeah. Well, yeah. You're starting with the centerpiece. You want to make sure your sides are parallel, and then
And square.
yes. And when you then start putting your borders on, then it's a matter of, and you have to really eyeball it to get them even as you grind them even.
Yeah.
And that's literally, that takes practice.
Yep.
But
Yeah, we have to say the whole Intarsia machine here, Bill had a huge contribution in making it what it is. Numerous phone calls and conversations. And of course, really some great conversations I had with Al Sassone before he passed away. He is a real interesting, fun guy. Well, Bill, Al Sassone had that. What was the waffle making machine he's always told me about? Automatic waffle maker or something like that. And he was on some TV show. He told me about that every time I talked to him.
Yeah, he was. He invented. He actually got hooked up with a professor, an engineering professor at MIT. Became good friends with him, and they designed and patented this automatic pancake maker. And then he was on the Phil Donahue show, and I actually saw the video of it. He was proud to share that video with anybody who would listen. And so it was fun watching it. And then but where he really made his money is that and was successful was he came out with a stovetop version of it, which do an individual one pancake at a time. And that went on Home Shopping Network, and they sold a ton of those things.
Oh yeah.
And you can still buy them. It's called a flip it.
Flip it. Yep. You know, he grew up about 2 miles away from where I live. And
Yeah.
when we discovered that, oh, we had a whole bunch of conversations about the mill that he worked in and the mill that we're here. He knows this mill pretty well because, of course, you know, all the mills he was working over there in Hopedale. Really good dude.
Yeah. Yep. One of a kind.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm glad you guys are on here chatting because if you weren't talking, I would have forgot you were here. I'm having so much fun.
He's focused. I
He's
tell you, that
dropped in
headset you have
focus.
is really good, though. The noise canceling on that. I know it's not very loud, but you know, when you're running the saw and everything, we just hear you. It's really good.
Yeah,
You know,
these headsets are awesome.
This is very typical. Watching Zeke do this, typical of my classes. I am definitely not one of those helicopter type instructors. And what I found out is the best thing to do is I will start the week. I will go through the first few steps, which we did with Zeke, and he squared up the centerpiece and he applied 2 borders, and then I'll just step back and let people run with it. And I found that with most people, that's all they need. They just want to run with it, you know. So I try to stay out of their way, and that's been a very successful method for me over the years, and I think Zeke's demonstrating it right now.
Well, this has been a ton of fun, and your instructions were very clear and easy to follow.
So, how many people watching right now have done Intarsia? Throw in the chat if you've done some Intarsia before.
Well, I know Martha has because she's been in class,
Yep.
and I was in a class with Karen.
Yeah.
Karen does some really cool jewelry. She came and
She
visited
does.
us and showed us her jewelry. I was really impressed.
Yes, she does. She's very, very talented. I had the
So
opportunity.
let me ask the second question. How many people watching here today are interested to do Intarsia? Great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, when you can see it, like watch it being done like this, it doesn't look so overwhelming.
No, I did think
Yes.
this would be a lot harder than it has been.
Yeah.
And it really
Yeah.
hasn't taken us that long. We're not even 2 hours yet, and plus we did a good amount of talking.
Yeah. It's great.
So your next step now would be to flatten the back side of that, and again, using pencil marks all over the back of it. And then you would lay that down on your backing, and then mark out a border around it so that you have a little bit of overlap, and cut out a backing piece and then flatten it, and then you'll epoxy that down.
Hey,
I
Cindy,
think
I
that
sent you a message. I think we got your login fixed. I think so. A lot of the folks running into, we put in a routine because the portal could allow you to create a duplicate account, and we've put in a function that made that not possible anymore. So yeah, you can try again. So we think that we've got yours solved. There was a duplicate account, so it would be confused. Yeah, we're working on it, David. We got a new website coming up. So, but I agree with you. Wow, that's cool.
Now
Why?
you're doing this freehand on the Intarsia machine. A lot of people don't have the skills that you do, and it'd be safer to do this on a flat lap.
That's really cool. I'm so excited about this, Bill. This is so much fun. Before I move on to making the backer, should I take these little
Yeah.
edges off?
Yeah, go ahead. They're just in the way right now.
So Gary was asking why flatten the back of it before taking the ears off.
It just worked out that way. It wasn't on purpose.
The one thing that on a personal note, that would drive me crazy, whether it makes a difference or not, is also if the back is perfectly flat, it just feels a lot better to slide across the deck here.
Yes.
Yeah, we got a nice deal. Well, what's our deal on the Intarsia 6, Lizelle? Because we're running a deal on either machine, depending on.
There we go.
There you go. And I got a really nice deal on the labs. They're 35% off.
Yeah, the laps themselves are 35% off.
Hey, Z.
Well, so it's 35% off if you're ordering it with the machine. If you just want to order a lap, we're doing 30% off the laps. Yes, Bill.
So you get an extra 5.
For the purposes of this demo, and if you want to move ahead, you might want to just super glue the back on, and then you could go ahead and cab it.
Oh, I like that.
And then the reason we epoxy the back on is it's because super glue has a lot of wonderful properties, but it also has a couple negative things. And one of them is it's very brittle, and the other one is it's susceptible to moisture. So it's by putting the epoxy and the backing on it, then we don't have to worry about it coming apart or for any reason.
Right. Gives a lot of strength.
Yes.
The bond strength of epoxy is greater than super glue.
Yeah.
All right. I like that because I'll be very excited to finish this, and it won't take very long to finish the cab out once we get the last gluing done. That'll only take me a few more minutes.
See Vicky's comment there, Sherm?
Yeah, you can do it. You can just, Vicky, there's like a little button that you push and it expands and you can see the whole invoice, all the line items. Just by clicking, it'll open up and then you'll see all the line items. So it's in there. If you look there, you'll see, looks like a little button on the screen. And when you click that button on the left to the button, they click on the details button, you open it up, it unfolds and you see everything.
There was a question on epoxy there. I use a 5-minute clear epoxy, and I've switched brands over the years. Most recently, I've become real fond of the 5-minute epoxy made by Starbond. It sets, well, being the impatient person that I am, it sets up very quickly and very hard. So I can actually start working on pieces after 2.5 hours.
Nice.
Yeah, that's good.
Hey, Sherman, can you check and see why Dan's not seeing his invoice from
Yeah,
2 weeks ago?
I'm checking it right now. And Lizelle, you guys may need to do a quick check on that. I have Alyssa on here. I've kind of moved her hours so she's got some coverage on these events, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see an invoice on here. Let me go log in for you, Dan. I'm going to check from the admin side and just see if your stuff is there on the portal. There may just be
This
a
was
login.
this was the epoxy we were going to use.
Yeah,
You can see it's
that
just a
worked.
5 minute clear epoxy.
I've used JB Well before. That it works fine. So put an X on the back of it, and then scribble the other side.
I think this side's a little bit prettier, so we'll have that one be our outside.
And as
Dan, you can go in there in your portal. I do see the invoice in there.
for anybody that's getting ready to do the next step, which is flattening that piece on a flat lap. Sometimes people have trouble holding onto it with their fingers. What you can do is take a piece of masking or duct tape and tape it on there and make kind of a handle
Yep.
to give you something to grab hold of, so you won't just
Sand your fingertips off.
Yes, or you won't send it flying across the room.
Yeah, well, that's a really great trick, and I'll tell you that heavy duty Gorilla tape, the black stuff, man, that stuff is so good. Like if I'm working on a slab and I'm grinding a slab on the bull wheel, there it's even more of a challenge because that bull wheel's moving really fast. You put your finger on the sanding disc and you're going to remove some. And like Bill was talking, is if you take that duct tape and you basically fit it so you're sticking to the back and you stick a loop up that becomes like your handle, and then you can hang onto that duct tape really easy. You don't have to worry about getting your fingers on the surface of the disc or on a bull wheel on the main drum paper.
Looks great, Zeke.
Thank you, Bill. Yeah, it's also one thing that I always get a little leery of is you also don't want to tilt it on and off the plate unless you got excess there because you'll roll your edge.
Amen.
So
All
Denise is
right.
asking, how long does it take something to be updated as paid?
It's not
Hers
instant.
has been 12 hours and it says processing still.
Yeah, it's not instant. We run a batch. Run a batch at night. Right now, we're just dealing with the latency issues on NetSuite. We are working to speed that up, and but it's a little bit of limitations of how fast we can shove data into that. And team, make sure you're catching all these things because I'm not catching every single one of them in the chat.
I'm curious what you apply the acetone with, Bill. I'm a little worried about some of these little fuzzies, which is why I keep blowing it off. Getting on the faces there.
Oh, I guess I never worried about it. I just use paper towel.
All right then. Well, then I won't worry about it either.
Well, basically, Michael, to answer your question, when we developed this machine, what we had really was the concept from Al's machine, and he'd used what I would consider like found items. Like he had the bottom tray was like a cake pan or something like that, wasn't it, Bill?
Yeah,
And
it
I
it
had
evolved
to,
over
I had to,
time.
yeah, I had to figure.
So for the sake of time, we just did super glue on the bottom, which is not what Bill teaches. Bill teaches to use a two-part epoxy like this and let it sit for 3 hours or so at once you do that backing. But because we want to actually finish this piece live with you guys tonight, and none of us want to sit here and watch this thing dry for 3 hours, we just did super glue. So that we can actually, here in a couple minutes, go cab this, wipe off some of the excess glue, and it's probably pretty close to already done, actually.
Yeah, something like that, you could, with that big surface, you could probably hit it with the accelerator there.
Before I watch, it's gonna be this last step that I glue my fingers to the piece.
There you go.
Let's see.
Yeah, if you're epoxying it, Pat, then definitely having a little bit of weight on it is a good idea.
John, that's a good discussion item there. I never. Some people like to use weight or they use clamps, and I have always done that when I'm doing woodworking. But I always figured that since stone is basically not porous, I've never done that, and I've never had any problems with not using some kind of force. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I wouldn't put much force on it. Like there's a couple of challenges when you are using epoxy, and one is if you do put weight on it, that sometimes what can happen is the piece can sit there and slowly slide,
Yep,
right?
yep,
And then you've created a new problem because when you come back and check on it, now your backing is like a half inch off the edge, and you've screwed your piece up. Um, But if you've applied the epoxy a little too thick and you don't get it squeezed down, which usually what I find with people that are getting started is they'll use too much glue. And then what you really want to do is kind of get that glue squeezed out. Otherwise, when you finish it and you look from the side, you have this big thick glue line because you put the glue on too thick. And so that for me is where I would want to have a little bit of squeeze on it to get that extra glue out. And maybe to your point, Bill, if they just were holding the piece for a little bit until they see that they've squeezed most of the excess glue out, but not squeezing it so hard you break your backing or anything, then letting it relax. But it's the fundamentals, like having the back and the backing both really flat, because if you're not really flat and then you squeeze it and then you let it go and set it down, you can have a gap and a little air pocket in there.
yep. No, you're right. One of the things that I stress is that when you after you put the epoxy on, whether you put it on thick or thin, that I encourage people to push down on it and kind of squish it around until it oozes out all sides, and and make sure you're on a flat surface.
Yeah, good. Now, when he gets most of the material off on the backing, will you have him go back on the machine to square it up?
No, he finishes everything on the Genie now, or excuse me, the sorry about that. No, Now, the only time I ever, if I'm going to make a piece that's dead flat, then I'll do everything on the flat lap and, swap the laps and all the way
Right.
through all the steps. But other than that, you finish it on the grinder. And what you're doing is you're actually putting a very, very slight dome on it. And that allows
Right.
you to grind and polish it with the round wheels. And for most pieces, they look flat.
Yeah. Yeah, just treat it like a cab now, basically.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And this is a good time to you can examine the thickness of your backing now, and sometimes you might end up with your backing piece was made your piece a little heavier than you wanted it to be, and you can use this opportunity on this wheel to reduce that thickness. And with
So,
those,
if you're making something like an Intarsia box, certainly the top of the box would be very much a similar technique to this, but then the sides, particularly if you're doing like a 45-degree angle joint, that's a little bit different process then, right?
well, kind of. What I do is I build the box, the four sides and the bottom. I build those, and then I take it to the grinder and just finish it up on that. And sometimes I'll round the edges, soften them, and then sometimes I'll leave them rather sharp. And then the top, it just that gets done separately.
Jared's asking about the thickness of the backing.
Yeah, the thickness of the backing on the piece that Zeke's got there, you got material that's uniform all the way through, and even that centerpiece, those eyes go pretty much all the way through. So you could thin that out really, really dramatically, top and bottom, and end up with something that's almost as thick as a silver dollar, and it would still be a nice stable piece.
Michael's asking if you used something like opal in your center for your center stone, would it be smart to put like an optical quartz cap on it?
You can there's a couple. If you're working with precious opal and you've already cut your opal down and where you expose the fire, what the recommended approach on that is you recess that opal into the center so that the borders surrounding the center, the opal center, are higher while you're building the piece. And then when you got it completely built, then you take it to the grinder and you very, very carefully start lowering the top of those borders on top until you creep up on that fire layer so that you don't you reduce the risk of going through the fire. Now, if you're working with synthetic opal, of course, it doesn't matter because it's uniform all the way through. Now, what he suggested, you can put a quartz cap on it and basically make it like end up being a doublet or a triplet. In any of those things are legitimate, those approaches.
Hey, Kate.
That looks really good.
Yeah,
Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
so excited about this
That's
for our first
great.
project.
pretty good for a first time piece. Well, I think part of what Zeke is illustrating here is, you know, use a really pretty stone, even if you're doing your first piece, because you're going to come out with something that still looks really great, even if you can look at it, a year later, as you get better and better, you look at it and you go, well, I didn't do that quite perfect, but the piece is still really impressive, really valuable, nice piece.
Somebody once said something about life's too short to, or etc.
Cut ugly rocks. I don't know when I first started saying that, but it got to be where I would teach anybody who's cutting for me, I would teach them that. And now, all of you all, it's like become our golden rule, because you don't want to spend tons of time cutting something and then come out with a mediocre piece. Because particularly if you're doing Intarsia, because the cost of the stone is not your big, that's not your big concern. It's, the time that you put into it. You want your time to actually been used to create something that's really nice.
On that note, Bill, I am curious. Something like this, how do you figure what to price something like this? Are you doing cost of material plus time, or do you have a formula on how you figure out a price if you're going to sell something like this, since it is
I'm
somewhat
I'm
more intensive than?
I'm a bad person to ask that because I don't sell. Uh, I all of my work is volunteer work, and I was blessed with a great career, so I don't need another job. Um,
Yeah.
so um, you probably want to throw that out to some of the other people on the chat room that do sell these things.
That's nice.
That's a great looking piece.
Yeah, this is my first piece. I definitely. Oh, let me grab a paper towel. I didn't realize I got water on the camera. I do feel very fortunate. I mean, how much great knowledge we have. John Sherman and of course Bill, the expert on Intarsia cutting, on here. This is so great. I've loved having Bill on walking me through this, and it's made it a very, very easy process. I was surprised at how easy it was actually to make this.
Now, if we talked briefly earlier about different shapes, um, triangles are sometimes they say the stone talks to you. Well, that's very true with Intarsia because the patterns in the stones will tell you what shape it wants to be, and a lot of times they're not square. So a lot of times it's some kind of a weird trapezoid shape or a triangle. But triangles are nice to work with, particularly. I love. You remember the three types of triangles that we learned about in school. There was equilateral, isosceles, and scalene. And the scalene was the one where none of the angles are the same. And I love that scalene because I don't have to worry about any measurements. You just start applying borders and let it rip.
Well, there's actually one thing, Bill, that you've taught me tonight that I actually didn't realize was a possibility. I've always looked at Intarsia as a planned out pattern, but from the process that you taught me here, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'll probably never make another exact geometric shape again because like I would have so much fun just starting to glue up borders and pieces and make funky designs that way.
Yeah. Well, that's why I started, when I started this stuff, I called it Rockhound Intarsia because that's what I am. I'm a rockhound. And to me, it's just a really cool way to show off the rocks.
Yep.
One of the things I definitely want to try now that we've done this is doing a kind of like they do the wood cutting boards where you glue a whole bunch of pieces up, you cut them up,
Yeah.
lay them in a different pattern, glue them again, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to do that now.
Yeah. Yeah,
Bill,
that's not,
we keep telling Zeke he's got to really start learning how to spend more time on that flat lap. I think we might have just given him a reason to now, huh?
Definitely.
Amanda's got an interesting question. Can you do circles?
yeah. Yeah, we were talking a little earlier about all that work that they did back in the Renaissance and making those beautiful pictures out of stones. And they all use hand tools, and it was all curve fitting. So you can do that. It's just a different approach. I mean, what we're doing here is pretty straightforward. It's all linear, straight lines. So it just takes a different set of tools. You have to use some kind of um, some people use hand pieces like a Fordham with diamond bits. One of the most useful tools for working with for doing curve fitting is a stained glass grinder because
Yes.
you can use those bits. In fact, that's when I'm doing channel inlay. A lot of times I'll use the stained glass grinder because it's nice for forming those curves, and they have different size bits too with them.
Yeah, I've actually got some very small, rather inexpensive core bits that would be great for drilling holes in slabs.
Yeah,
That could be used for curved pieces as well.
yeah. Now
Well, you know what else?
that's a different thing. You're talking about stone in stone where you're coring out and then putting a different stone within the stone. Am I?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we do that
Well, the beauty to us making all the tooling is that anytime we conjure up some process, well, we can make tools to do it.
So on
Yeah.
that note, I was actually thinking about that earlier, and because I've actually done that before, where you use a core bit to make a hole and then put another stone in. The shaping machine is going to be such an amazing tool to be able to get a perfect fit of those little circles. I was thinking like because it's a
That
pain
is a
sometimes if you gotta. What was
that's a
that, John?
great idea because you could put your slab in the shaping machine and just run it in a circuit, run it for making a circle, and you got that height adjustment. You can just dial it right in and grind perfectly so it fits right in your other piece.
Oh, because it's so hard to do with core bits to get them to fit perfect with no seam.
My Chinese Tiffany stone shirt. I've had this shirt a long time. It's kind of become a work shirt now. But see, for me, work is kind of like play, so I got to have like relaxed, fun shirts from my work. Oh my gosh. I had a rather painful thing that I may regret it. I ran into it was about 220 pounds of really nice big blocks of char white. But I was exercising restraint because I'd already bought a lot more rough than I was planning on. But there was two big chunks of char white that make 7-inch balls. Really great color. I went to one of the big rock yards here yesterday. Let's see, was it yesterday?
2 days
Wednesday.
ago.
Wednesday, Bill.
Yeah.
You would get a kick out of these rock yards. It's mind blowing. Like, and I'm really jaded, and I'll go there, and it's mind blowing. So much fun.
How many tons did you buy? You bought 2 containers worth,
Well,
right?
I don't know. Lynn hasn't given me the list yet.
Well, as someone that was on the phone with John, I would guess about 45.
Probably 45 tons. That might be, 2.5 containers of rock.
Yeah, I bought some really great stuff. And some of the stuff I got actually would be really super for Intarsia too.
Mm. That's a really beautiful piece for your first piece there, Zeke.
It really is.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I really love
Now, is
the colors in this
Now
piece.
that little spot on the lower side, is that just like a little that
That's
spot?
an
What's
inclusion
that?
in the soda light.
Yeah,
Oh, so
yeah,
that's in the
just part of
soda
the soda
light.
light.
Okay.
Yep.
I see it. Black jade for backing material.
We got some basanite. Did we sell all that basanite slabs?
And if we have any left, it's just like 1 or 2.
That's what I use.
And they may disappear rather quickly.
I used to get from Wyoming, I used to get these really crazy black jade nodules. And man, that stuff was it was so hard. But it'd be really, really, really strong for a backer. And was weird. It had kind of like a reddish tan husk on it. And then you'd cut into it and it was jet black. Hard as nails. And we made some spheres out of it. And you could get that stuff, like we polished the spheres. If you left one running in the machine and it got dry, it'd get hotter than fire and it wouldn't hurt it.
Hmm.
Take a great shine.
Oh, he's got 2 machines running simultaneously.
Of course he does.
Yeah.
I would have more running if I had a need to.
Yeah. You don't have the wet belt sander running as well.
Not at the moment.
You were here to like 2:30, 3:30 this morning, something crazy like that.
Yeah, about 3 in the morning this morning.
Zeke
Yeah,
is definitely in his toy store. And no, he doesn't pay attention to the power bill. So John's working on brushless DC for all the stuff. Get us off of these NEMA 56 and NEMA 48s. I mean, capping machines don't take much power.
Your capping machines are on brushless DC on both,
Yeah,
right?
these are brushless
Yeah.
DC. But I was thinking, the saws. He's got a fleet of saws
for,
running all
for
the
anybody
time.
that doesn't know, the brushless DC is vastly more efficient. And like with the tumblers, it's pulling, if you have like a double 3-pound tumbler, it literally uses about 1/3 of the current for a shaded pole motor type tumbler. So that means, you're running the tumbler much, much, much cheaper.
I thought it was more than that.
I'm pretty sure when
Oh,
Rob
third?
tested it, it was 1/5.
I think it was 1/5, John, when Rob did the testing.
Okay, well, I'm going for the conservative statement. It's still a winner. If you're pulling 66% less power, that's a good thing. That's a third.
If you're pulling, what would be a fifth would be like
Cerium, yeah.
80% less power.
And and I can guarantee you on the cabbing machines that savings is huge. And they run cooler, they run quieter, and you get variable speed.
Yeah,
It's
what's
like
there not to like?
the best of all worlds. I need to start making one of these machines. I've had this one
I
forever. And they're a simple
I
little machine.
agree. Did you ever make those adapters?
I gotta look. See, at this time machine, I would do it with a brushless DC motor. I got here's what's funny. If you look at my camera, this little motor I'm holding in my hand is the same power as that
I
motor
can't see
that
it.
he's.
Hold on. We can't see. Can you pin John
can't
up
see it?
there? Pin John up, guys. I don't even know where you are.
There you go.
Area.
This little motor right here is the same power as that one that Zeke was just working on.
Yeah.
And how small it is. This is brushless DC.
And it's variable
And
speed.
the torque curve is better. So you can leave it, it doesn't care.
Yeah.
This is the motor that I'm putting in one of the new smaller vibratory tumblers.
This goes in the Viking one, right? The Viking style kind of tumbler.
I'm doing a replica of that old Viking tumbler.
Wow, that looks great, Zeke.
Thank you. I'm very happy. Thank you so much, Bill, for the help. This has been so much fun.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Start to
And I love
finish.
that.
Boom.
You did great. You did
Thank
great.
you.
There's no, I don't see any seams. That's
Slow it down there a little. Yeah, looks good.
Man, I am so happy with that. And you guys can see, just follow the process, make sure you're tight on your steps, make sure you're checking each one of those faces as you go. It's really not a hard thing to do when you're doing a simple design like this. I mean, that was really easy.
Mhm.
And that was, let's say, for actual work time, a little less than 2 hours.
Turn it over on the back. Let's see the back side. Yeah. It's nice, dude.
I do like what Bill said. Initially, I was going to put blue goldstone on the back, and Bill advised against that, to use the Amazonite for the outer borders and the back. And I can appreciate that more now that I'm looking at the finished product, because the way it frames it so nicely as you roll it around does look really good.
Mhm.
Oh man, thanks again, Bill. That was so much fun.
it was
This is very
fun.
good.
It was fun. Yeah.
I am super ecstatic. And normally we would have these events go on for another few hours, but I will be busy making more Intarsia now. That was so awesome.
Yeah, we
I
have
sit
some
and look at.
really good. You still got some of that red jasper too, right? Right, Zeke?
Oh yeah, so the Red River Jasper.
Oh yeah, that stuff will be great for borders.
Mhm. Real
And
distinct
when
color.
when you start looking at pieces like that, and then when you start looking at materials, you can see all these fantastic combinations that you can put together. Like there's no end to the combinations that you can create. Particularly when we have like, I don't know, what do we have? 450 different stones in our stock right now.
Something like that.
At least, yeah, 450 different stones.
I
Yeah, and
actually
I've
had
got,
I had an
they want to
idea,
see
John.
Bill's examples again.
That's a really good idea. I'd love to look at Bill's again. I had an idea, and it'd actually be I'd be curious to see what Bill thought of this. Because as earlier when I was thinking about what I was gonna make, I think it would be really cool if you guys built some software where you could create designs in the software. We have preloaded pictures of you could use things like Amazonite or, lapis, malachite, and you could actually build designs in like a CAD file and then go out and find your material to match it. Because I was having a really hard time earlier deciding. I was like, oh my gosh, there's like 500 different pieces here I want to make.
Listen to Zeke. Zeke articulates like a 2 year long software project in one sentence.
I don't think that's a 2 year long process, but
Oh,
I think it,
dude, that's a big project. I mean,
well,
you're still working on
obviously,
the portal. You just worry about getting the portal.
I'm just working on the portal. Yes, yes. Yeah, I mean, tonight, Ritem, our developer, he's been on this as well, like getting all this information, digging in, because it's super, super helpful when when you guys are like, I'm seeing this, because right now we're working on edge cases, like how's that happening? Like with Cindy's thing. And Cindy, we may reset, but we actually want to get to the root cause of finding out what exactly is happening so that we can prevent it permanently. So we'll definitely get you up, but just bear with us because I know he's diving in really deep into understanding so we can make everything super smooth.
Yeah, we can.
Awesome.
We
Do we
can
want to
make
take?
kits. We can make Intarsia kits.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Someone mentioned looking again at some of Bill's pieces. I think that would be a very fun thing to do after all that fun
Yeah,
cutting.
Seth, can you post his stuff up again?
Or a screen share and let's go through some of those pictures.
Screen share.
I was that the one with the voids in it, I think is still the one that's I'm racking my brain around on how to build something like that.
Step by step.
Right? They do
Well,
not need to be the same hardness. There's a pretty good range in hardness in that one piece. It does take a little bit more skill when you're polishing something with many different hardnesses, though. You got to pay more attention at how much pressure you use. Like if you heard Bill talk earlier, he was talking about if you put a really soft stone in the middle, you got to be a lighter touch on the middle as you go across it, and not be grinding like crazy across the whole piece. Love that
yeah,
one.
I love this
Yeah.
piece right here. This is fantastic. Is that dichroic glass in there?
It is.
Yeah, yeah. See, I want to start carrying that because I really believe that there's this amazing crossover of combining glass into stone pieces like this.
Yeah. Yep. I started doing this several years back and just kind of fell in love with it. It's
Mm-hmm.
and being the cheapskate I am, I go around and ask all the people who do glass fusing if they got any throwaway pieces, and like these little slivers here, but separated by the black marks, were just scraps from some other pieces that I just cut them out.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
That really is a top-notch piece.
Dino bone.
This one right here. I'm like, oh, that gives me some really interesting ideas with those empty voids.
Mm-hmm.
I love the way that looks. Well, and two guys, if I know there's a lot of people that are interested in learning this as well. Bill also taught a webinar series with John and Sherman before, and that is also on YouTube. We'll get this one up there, but we also have that on YouTube if you guys want to actually watch Bill doing it as well.
Oh, wow. Look at this coral.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Great piece.
Yeah,
That green really makes it.
I've used some of that coral that I got on the auction. I don't know, several months ago, and it's turned out beautiful.
Mm.
This one, definitely noteworthy that that is Druzy amethyst in the middle of that. We talked about that earlier with that recessed. So the quartz is down in there. I think that is another really
That is
amazing
that food?
concept.
That's some of your thruolite that I got from you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's pretty.
Great piece. I'll tell you that Shadowkite would be fantastic for using in Intarsia.
Yeah, it would.
It's a little Miramama, isn't it?
Yeah, it lends itself very nicely to do this.
More dino.
That's an impressive design. This, I think, is still one of my favorites.
Yeah, that white border in there really makes it pop. What was that? Dumortierite on the outside of that one?
Yes, that's turned out to be one of my favorite materials to work with, because it comes in so many
Yeah.
different. Well, I call it poor man's lapis, because it comes in so many different color shades and patterns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great.
Oh,
Crocite. What's the red? Is that just a red jasper?
Yeah, it's some red jasper from Brazil.
And then what's the peach colored around the red?
I don't know. It's one of those mini rocks that I have that I never found out what it was, but it was.
It might
I
just be
go,
a peach colored quartz.
yeah, it could be. When I go to rock shows, I'm not looking for the typical things that cabbers are looking for. I'm looking for uh, uniform material, which is hard to find.
Yeah, yeah.
This is cool. This is a book match. I like to do book matches. There's a that's there's actually
Petrified wood in the center.
no, that's Ohio Flint.
Oh,
And if you look close, right down the center is there's a line. You can't, well, it's hard I guess it's hard to tell. There it is. Yeah.
yeah,
This is a book matched pattern.
yeah. No, the big thing to pay attention to here is look how tight all of Bill's seams are here. You can barely see them.
Well, I might say the same thing about Zeke's too.
Yeah, well, Zeke did really good on his first piece.
I did learn from the best.
Oh, I love this palm wood. Red palm, golden palm, and then more a lighter tan colored palm. You know what, Zeke? you have to pull out, go find a piece of that really killer super red palm and send it to Bill.
Ooh,
Done.
You
Oh,
know, find something that's got great. Don't send him some huge thing he has to struggle with, but send him something that is that killer pattern. Because that Indonesian stuff I've been getting, Bill, if you like palm, oh my God, you will love it.
oh yeah, I love it. That's my second favorite stone next to Dino, and let's see, it goes Dino, Palmwood, and Ohio Flint. 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, yeah. I love the palm wood too.
I think Ohio Flint's one of the most underrated materials out there because it's such a wide variety of colors and patterns.
Yeah, I cut a little Ohio Flint ball, one of the earliest spheres that I cut, and it was a pink and gray pattern. And I just love that pattern. Can't find the same kind of pattern anywhere else,
Yeah,
just in the Ohio Flint. And of course, there's so many different patterns coming out of that. And then when the Flint's heat treated, it's even more interesting because you get all kinds of crazy colors, blues and other stuff.
yep.
I'm curious. Did we offer up a deal on the Intarsia machines?
We
I didn't see
did.
if we did.
I think we have 1 or 2 takers so far.
Yeah, put the deals back up in the chat.
Well, I admittedly too, as much fun as I have doing Lapidary, I did think it was going to be a lot more challenging to use the Intarsia machine and to be able to do this. And I was actually kind of blown away with Bill walking me through this, how easy that really was to do. I expected.
I got a secret on Zeke. Up to this date, the Intarsia machine has been the cleanest machine in the lab. It had literally not been used by Zeke, and he uses the crap out of everything, but he was a little intimidated by that thing. Now, I think the Intarsia machine is going to need to have you're going to have one of those little sprayer nozzles. Probably move it over there by your cabbing machines, honestly, because then you can plumb it into
Yeah.
that thing, and then you can plumb it all.
Yeah, in fact, I'm like, man, with how great deal we're doing on laps, we better save some more laps for me to use because I'm going to go through a stack of them. That was so much fun.
I go through a lot of laps. So, they say you guys say that life's too short to cut ugly rocks. Well, I think life's too short to try to cut rocks with a
Dull tools.
dull tools.
Yeah.
I go through a lot of laps. As soon as it
Yeah,
starts,
well, it's all about the time. You
yeah,
know, you consider, particularly if the 6-inch and 8-inch laps, they're so inexpensive that your lap
yeah,
gets dull, just replace it. It's not that much money. You start valuing your time. You take 30 minutes longer, 40 minutes longer on a piece because you're using dull tools. Well, that pays for the lap really darn fast.
yeah. Well, and the way you designed the machine, the way you delivered the machine, just had the topper plate sitting there, held on with the screw. And see, up until I really started using your machine, I've been using the PSA stick-on laps.
Yeah.
And because I was afraid that maybe they weren't dead flat, but
Yeah.
I've become a convert, and so I just lay the loose lap on there, and that big old that retaining big, well, I don't know what you call it.
That step washer.
Yeah. It's got a large surface on the front to hold that lap tight. So it makes it a lot lot quicker than trying to
Easier to
peel
change,
off.
but you don't have to peel the stick them off, right?
Yep.
And that's great.
Yeah,
I'm
it's been
I'm
fun.
curious how many people on have like I wanted to do Intarsia, but we're also a little intimidated by it, and now you're like, oh, okay, that wasn't so bad. I feel like I could do that now, or at least go out and try it. Because hopefully that was as inspiring for you guys as it was for me. Because I'm like, oh my goodness, there's going to be a tray of Intarsia pieces here by the weekend.
That's great,
Yeah.
I'm
Daniel.
so glad to hear that because that's really what we're all about is inspiring and motivating people to go do awesome stuff like this. So now that you guys have seen this, um, you know there's another show and tell coming up in like 2 or 3 weeks, something like that. So now we're going to expect to see some awesome Intarsia pieces on that show and tell, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have to do an Intarsia contest.
Oh,
I'm
that's a
thinking, I'm
great
think,
idea.
I'm thinking an Intarsia contest for somewhere right around the beginning of the new year. Give everybody time to get their stuff together and make a piece, and we'll figure out what we're going to give away for that.
I'm excited about that. Yeah, Daniel, you can use it. It pretty much is a flat lap just turned up on 90 degrees. And you can see a little bit of practice. You can easily hold stones up there and flatten them out, which is what
Yep.
I didn't use a flat lap tonight. All I used was the Intarsia machine.
Yeah, well, and the thing with we've got people that are actually cabbing on the Intarsia machine to dop their stone and grind on it. I did not make the Intarsia machine variable speed. Um, I'm working on something that might, but it's like a 6 month project, maybe 8 month project. It's I'm doing a co-development with my brushless DC motor supplier on some stuff because they're doing some interesting, really cool stuff. So
It's a really big range, Francine. I think like
yeah, we have a
36
ton
grit to like 1500 grit or something. It's a pretty big range. Oh man, thank you again, Bill. That's the most fun in Lapidary I've had since probably John and I were sitting in here cutting agates or running the sewer machines. That was a huge amount of fun, and I can't wait to do lots more of this. In fact, now I'm like, gosh dang it, why didn't I start that years ago? That was a
You're
ton of
not
fun.
allowed to stay up way late though, because you were here till like 3 a.m. So
You're
Zeke
cutting
is
out, Sherman. I
enthused.
can't hear you.
I said you're not
it's
allowed to
breaking
stay up
up.
there.
The connections.
Okay. I'm gonna walk down there.
I'm gonna walk down there.
That is so awesome. Well, what do you guys want to do tonight? We could cut more rock. We could do some tote if you guys want to. Oh, I think my screen just crashed. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. I don't have a screen.
I can hear it. Yeah, we can hear you.
I
Yeah,
did tell Bill we
maybe
wouldn't keep
we'll
him up
have
too
to,
late.
Bill. Maybe we'll have to fly you out and do an event. Just do something like making some more pieces together live, or making a small box or something that will continue. Like I really want to see the Intarsia art form get amplified because it's a I mean, historically, it's a very old art form of stonework,
Yep.
lapidary work, and
Yep.
and we need new artists in it. We need to grow that as a really significant part of lapidary.
That's right. And Zeke's the pathfinder there.
Yeah, well, that's why we got him in here. How long's it been, Zeke, now since you've been with us?
It was 2 years ago in June, so we're about almost 2.5 years ish, somewhere right in that
Yeah,
range.
so it
It
feels like
feels
five.
feels like 15.
Yeah. Like you should have been doing this for a long time. Well, it's like it's the same for me. You know, I did semiconductor stuff, running big design teams and all that kind of crap for years. And well, I should have been doing this, obviously, because
This is a ton of fun.
yeah, this is what I love doing. Why don't we do a little bit of totes and cutting? I didn't get that one Sageanite piece that was almost plume last night. The one that I said, oh yeah, I told everybody what it was going to be, right? And nobody wanted to
Oh,
go for it. I told everybody what it's going to be, and then we cut it. Then probably everybody wanted it, right?
yep, there was a few people fighting over that piece. That would be
Yeah.
a fun material to do tote out of too, because that would make a great centerpiece Intarsia. Can you imagine a nice Intarsia cab with one of those big plume sprays coming up the middle of that?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know how I'm gonna be able to sleep tonight.
I told you it's a sickness.
I
This
got
is a
about a
sickness. I don't want to be well.
That's right. That's right. Proud of it.
That's awesome. All right, well, we got to figure out something with the TV here, so I'll be able to hear Jordan. I don't know what happened with that, but why don't we go for a spin, and we'll get set up to show you guys some rock.
All right.
Well, I think
Before we go to the spin, we wanted to thank Bill Boggs for his time tonight. And definitely, we're looking forward to more of this in the future. And hopefully, we can do that in the warehouse in Massachusetts. Thank you so much again, Bill, for your time. And we'd love to see you more here in the Highland Park events.
thank you, Lisa. I told her earlier that I hadn't seen her for about 2 years or so when we did the webinars.
Yeah.
Yes, we did the Intarsia webinar together.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.